Let's pretend these are the books that I'm going to recommend you. But as I do not own copies of any of them, we're going to keep this aside and only use it for making a nice thumbnail. Hi and welcome back. I'm Sanya and it's a new year. Last year I read 40 books in total, which was pretty good. I was blessed with amazing books and my Goodreads goal was 50 books, but I ended up reading 40, but I think it was pretty good. So I will be recommending the best books that I read in the year for you to read in this year so that we can talk about them so that you read amazing books. If you're not a reader and you are kind of overwhelmed with the idea of words on a paper, these books are perfect for you. They are written in very simple language and anyone who's a beginner at reading can enjoy these books to their full extent. So right now I'm going to go through a list of all the books that I read on Goodreads and I'm going to randomly talk about them. Are you a fan of Harry Potter? Are you also sick of Harry Potter at this point? This book is perfect for you. It's called the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend. I read the third book in this series this year and it was amazing. Actually, the first two books are so much better than the third book. So the first book in the series is The Trials of Morrigan Crow, which is Nevermore 1 by Jessica Townsend. It is a perfect escape. It is so good, and if you're a fan of Harry Potter and you like fantasy but you do not like complicated fantasy, this is a middle grade book and it will be perfect if you're looking for an escape. So Morrigan was born on the day of Eventide and all the kids who are born on this day are cursed. They are all supposed to die on their 11th birthday, which is not very good for them. But Morrigan escapes this death, luckily for us, and a very amazing man, which you're going to fall in love with, Jupiter North, takes Morrigan away from there and he makes her go through these trials which are for kids with special talents. We see Morrigan living in a magical hotel in a magical city. The rooms in this hotel change according to your preferences. Morrigan has to get admitted into a very prestigious school and she has to go through these trials which are like competitions with other kids with knacks or talents, and we see Morrigan making friends and how she gets through the competition in the first book. Next one, called, which is the fourth book, Silverborn, is about to come and I cannot wait for it. What's the date? It's 13th October 2022. So just get through the first three books and we will read this book together in October. So yeah, just if you're looking for an escape, pick up this book. The first book that I read was Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. It's a love story between the son of the President of America and the Prince of England. It's obviously fictional. Alex is very close to his sisters and so is Henry. They all form this amazing group of friends in this book, and the parents and the family dynamic and the problems with being LGBTQ today in the mainstream world where the media is always behind you are tackled so perfectly in the book. It's political, but it's also very feel good. I personally love when a book has a big group of friends in it. So because Alex and Henry both are under the supervision of the media all the time, they keep their relationship private and they try to sneak around, and how they go from haters to friends to lovers, just read it. The next book, I don't think you've probably heard the name of this book. It's The Loose Ends List by Carrie Firestone. It's criminally underrated. So in this book, we follow a main character whose name I cannot remember. Her grandmother is dying and she's taking all of them on this cruise, which is like a cruise for dead for the people who are going to die and their families. This book deals with grief. It has an amazing family dynamic, but it's also very fun to read. but it also has an emotional aspect to it where Maddie tries to accept the fact that she has to live in a world without her grandmother, who she adores, and it leaves you with happy tears. The next book I am going to recommend is in the sense of hype and all. These books are very, very hyped actually. They are by this very famous author called Emily Henry, which I'm sure you've heard of. These books are hyped for a reason and you need to read them. So the first book is called People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. So we follow two best friends over the time period of 10 summer trips. They have nothing in common. She's the wild child and he wears khakis. So they are opposite, kind of like Grumpy and Sunshine. So Poppy is the sunshine, she is a wild child, she loves her family and she lives in New York City. And Alex, you will fall in love with Alex. He's a teacher in the small town to which both Alex and Poppy belong. So that is where our story starts. Alex and Poppy go to a community college, I think, which is near to their hometown, and every weekend they share a ride back home, and that's how they become friends in college. Poppy has everything she's ever wanted, but she feels like she's stuck in a rut. Alex and Poppy have this tradition which has been going on since the last 10 years of their friendship. They go on vacations. 2 years ago, something between them happened which ruined their relationship a little bit. We follow them from there and we see from how they met to all the vacations they've taken to the ending of the book. Alex is amazing, Poppy is amazing. Poppy is very, very relatable. The chemistry is perfect. Everything in this book is amazing, so just read it. So when you finish reading People We Met on Vacation and you feel like you're hungover, and that's how I felt after this book. I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna find a book which is so good. And guess what? I found the next book by the same author, which is called Beach Read. I think my excitement made me overcompensate for People We Met on Vacation. I told you a lot about the story, so I'm not gonna do that for Beach Read. I'm just gonna tell you that there are two main characters who fall in love, which is amazing again. Augustus and January. So they are both writers. They are polar opposites, but as we all know, opposites attract. So this book is very, very good. Read it, and I know you will. If you read People We Met on Vacation, you will feel like a hollow hole has been created inside of you and you will need something more, and Beach Read is what you should pick. The next book I want to recommend is again amazing. Actually, all the books I realized just now are feel good because that's mostly what I read. I mean, life is pretty boring and who needs to feel depressed after reading a book? I would prefer to feel good. That's why most of what I read is feel good, and so is the next book. It's called The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. We follow Linus Baker in this book, and Linus has a very boring, monotonous life. He works in this office for the department in charge of magical youth. He goes and sees how magical children are living and he writes reports on them. We know from the beginning of the book that Linus is pretty lonely. He is appointed for work to go on this magical island to look after this extremely restricted group of kids. So people think that these children are dangerous, so it's a very restricted assignment that has been given to Linus. Total 6 children. Linus goes there, he meets Arthur, and the humor in this book, the writing, the kids, the chemistry between Arthur and Linus. So what are you waiting for? Before I completely lose my voice, that is it for all the books that I want to recommend in this video. Tell me if you want a part 2 because I have so many other feel-good books to recommend because that's all I read. And thank you so much for watching. If you read any of these books, let me know what you think about them. Even if you do not like them, which I hope doesn't happen, but let me know if you like them. What do you think about them? And if you fall in love with the characters. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.